Okay. Let me see. This has been very interesting to try to set up. And let me just see. Okay. I thought this was going to be way, 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 way easier. So I'm just going to say hello in the chat. And if you can hear me, just let me know so that I know. It's not showing me anything on my phone either. Okay. So okay. Hi. Okay, cool. This has been the craziest 20 minutes. I'm not sure. I think I went live like 3 times and didn't even see myself. Okay, perfect. You can hear, you can see me. Perfect, perfect. So again, sorry for that delay. That was like way more confusing than Facebook Live is, and I've never done YouTube Live before, so I thought it would be really easy. Anyway, I would love to know where everyone is tuning in from. You are with me here in my apartment in Manhattan. And I have so many notes and so much to tell you. I'm really, really, really excited to share my thoughts on this topic, just because I think it is something that's really important. I actually spent the morning filling in my own planner. And I just think it's so important too, because when you map out your goals, you are able to plan out exactly how you're going to reach them. It's like putting something into the universe that is giving you a step forward to making things happen for yourself. And, you know, I'm a travel blogger. Many people in my community are travel bloggers. They are people looking to create location independent businesses so that they can travel more and work from anywhere. But really what we're going to be talking about today applies to everything that you might want to achieve. If you have a goal you want to reach, it's not enough to daydream about it, right? You need to take action. And planning can really help you take those actions. And before we dive into things, I just want to say that I do truly believe that if you want something bad enough, you could picture it, you know, crystal clear in your mind, then there is no way that it can't happen. You just need to make it happen, because it's not about if you can do it. It's about how you'll do it and when. And really quick, I am in the ending process of getting my life coaching certification. So a lot of this stuff comes up quite a bit. One topic that the course talks about that really resonated with me that I want to share is the idea of a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. There are people with a fixed mindset, and actually all of us usually have a fixed mindset in a certain area of our lives, where you just think, you know, oh, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not naturally talented enough at this. Whereas if you have a growth mindset, you believe that it doesn't matter if you don't have the skills yet, because you can achieve them, right? Like, you're not born understanding like social media. You have to attain those skills and learn those things, and that is possible. But what's important is that you believe it's possible. So I just wanted to touch on that, because I think it goes into everything we're going to be talking about setting goals and, you know, taking the steps to actually reach them. So again, before we jump into everything, I'd love to know where people are tuning in from, and also, how do you plan out your months and your years? Do you use Trello or Asana? Do you schedule out big goals? Do you schedule yourself to work in batches so that certain days you're doing certain tasks? I would love to know. Oh, Seattle, that's one of my favorite cities. I love it for the restaurants, and the cocktails are so, so good. Now, in terms of workflows and ways that you schedule yourself, I'm going to be sharing some productivity hacks that I've learned that have really, really helped me in the last year. I do have to be honest that while I improved tremendously going from 2008 to 2019 in terms of actually setting goals and coming up with workflows to achieve them, there were definitely a lot of mistakes that I made that really led to burnout and to some serious reflection on how I want to move forward with balancing, being a blogger with my personal life. And I say that because I'm sure many of you are bloggers, or I assume some of you are bloggers just because my community has so many bloggers, but we are doing 101 jobs. If you worked at say a magazine, they would have an SEO department, maybe one person handling Instagram, like that's their whole job. Then somebody else doing Pinterest, someone else doing outreach, where we're doing every single thing. So it can be really challenging to figure out what we need to do to get things done, to grow, but also to not work until midnight and spend our whole Saturday glued to our laptop, right? So that is something I've found challenging. And the problem really with me was that I overscheduled myself, and it reminded me of my very first backpacking trip. The first time I went abroad for 3 months by myself, I went to Europe, and I was nervous. It was my first, I'd gone solo before, but this was my first totally solo for 3 months trip. And I was nervous. So I scheduled every single thing. I scheduled every hostel, every activity, just every moment was planned, and it really had a great time, but it didn't leave any room for spontaneity, for unexpected adventures, for inspiration. You meet new people, you have new experiences, and you get new ideas, things you want to do. The same thing goes for your planning, right? You don't want to schedule yourself to the point where, you make a great contact at a meetup and they want to collaborate, but you have no room to do so. You have no room to sort of just sit for a morning and journal and come up with ideas. So that's something I've really learned myself in the past year. Just popping back into the chat, Milwaukee from Canada, but currently in Tunisia. Oh, I'm a new author, so this is a big learning curve. Ann Arbor, Michigan, I love it. Okay, so this is going to be super chill and laid back. I have tons of little things to show you, but there's no PowerPoint or anything. I'm just going to be sharing some insights. Definitely feel free to use the chat, talk with each other. I'm going to be kind of going back and forth from my notes to the chat, answering questions. I want to also just do a little recap for you of what I want to go over. I want to share a strategy for mapping out your blogging workflows. This is really, really powerful. I'm going to give you a look at how I plan out my big blogging goals so I can actually meet them. Rituals for feeling inspired while working on your blog so you can say goodbye to burnout and just get that creative feeling back. I'm going to share some productivity hacks to just help you get more done in less time. And hopefully you'll make some new connections. Like I said, I'll be answering questions, but definitely feel free to use that chat. I mean, collaboration is everything, especially if you're a new blogger or you're just starting a business or you just have some kind of goal to reach in any arena. Really working with others can help you grow so much faster. Plus it's so much fun. And I'll share some examples of how I collaborate with others and how that's helped me as we go on. So just a little intro. My name is Jessie. I own the blogs Jessie on a Journey and Epic Cure and Culture. My travel blogs are my full-time business. I'm also in the process, I'm almost done with getting my transformational life coach certification. I don't necessarily want to be a life coach. I just really wanted to be able to help my students and my members. I have a travel blog prosperity membership community, as well as a number of courses. And, I have tons of strategies to teach, but I really wanted to take my skills to the next level to help people really make changes and transform. Random facts, I'm a certified sommelier, and I'm also a licensed New York City tour guide. I sell photo tours, and that's something that came about through my blog. I just had so many readers asking me to show them around New York, where I'm from. So I decided, there's something here, there's an opportunity. And I got licensed as a guide and started selling tours. Never thought I would do that. And now I've been doing it since 2013, I want to say. In my spare time, I love to volunteer through New York Cares. I take hip hop classes, and I really love art, even though I'm really not good at it. This is one of the things that I'll share with you. I love to paint and I'm super, super not good at it or anything, but it's one of those things that's just something for myself that makes me feel creative and it allows me to have fun and just sort of unwind. And I think having things like that is just really important for your mental health. Not everything has to be something that you're amazing at, right? All right. So, like I said, I do truly believe that every single person here, every single person in general, does have the power to make their dreams a reality, whether that's taking your blog full time or something else. You just need to believe that you can do it. So important. You know, that famous quote, I don't know who said it. Whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. I think that's so true. So if you believe you can do it, you absolutely can. You just have to believe in yourself and have some clear goals with some clear workflows to make those goals a reality. Now, I want to also say, because I get this question a lot, I believe that the best way to have a sustainable blogging business, and you want to think about this right before you choose your goals and you map them out, is to start by having a mission that helps other people and then creating content that fulfills that mission, gets people, onto your email list, we can nurture them, and then you can put, offers in front of them that would truly help them. But really it starts with that mission. Everything you create should center around that mission, and that's the best way to grow a community. And also you want to play on your own strengths and the things that you love. If you heard that you're supposed to be spending X amount of time on Instagram, but you absolutely hate it, then why are you doing it? Unless it's something that's really going to help you meet your goals. But the truth is, there's probably something else that can also help you reach your goals that maybe you'll actually love. I think when you do things that you enjoy, the people that you put what you create in front of are going to see that, and they're going to enjoy seeing what you create even more. And the other thing I think is really important with all this, give yourself space to be creative and dream. Often I think we feel like we don't have the time to hit pause, close our eyes, light our favorite candle. Mine's right next to me. I have a very funny setup right now. This microphone is like dangling from the TV, so I cannot move anything, but got my candle right there. And anyway, just like visualize and dream. And for me, this is when I have my best ideas. I actually wake up every day around 5:45, and from like 5:45 to 7:30, I'm just doing things that make me feel inspired and creative. Meditation, yoga, writing, painting, visualization, reading. I hate jumping right into work. And I think that's also something you might want to think about scheduling for yourself. So let's dive into actually setting up your schedule. But first, let me just check the comments really quick. Okay, cool. Now, I'm just going to change the view for myself really quick. Okay. Consider what you loved and what you hated about the way you scheduled yourself last year. And I'd love to know in the chat, what is something that you loved about the way you planned out your days, weeks, months, and years? Maybe, again, you scheduled yourself so that you're working in batches. I know I personally really love that. Monday is a social media day. Maybe Tuesday is a video recording day. Wednesday is your blog post content day, whatever that is, so that you're not sort of like checking an email, hopping on Pinterest, writing a blog post really quick, but then getting sidetracked by the emails. You're able to kind of get into a flow state because you're doing everything at the same time. I've even started doing it, at least this is what I'm going to do in the new year. I've started kind of scheduling myself in my new planner to create, for example, my podcast, to create all that content during the same week. I'm giving myself actually a little bit more than a week, but kind of having a few days to script, a few days to record, a few days to edit for audio, and then I'm going to turn some of them into videos. And then just kind of being done with it for a few months. And then I think in June or July, I'm going to have to re-record some episodes, but it'll just be easier to kind of be in that 2-3 week mindset of podcast creation versus grabbing a day here, a day there to create it. So maybe it is that you schedule yourself to work until 3 p.m. and then the rest of the day is an overflow day. I know for me, I am making my overflow day for 2020 Friday. I'm not scheduling myself on Friday. Maybe there'll be a few instances where I do, but every single year it happens to me. I mean, every single week where I've already scheduled myself so much on Friday, and then I don't get things done during the rest of the week. So then I'm also cramming those into Friday. And then Friday is just very not relaxing for me. So that's a big mistake that I've made. And then I end up, going into Saturday. And I definitely do not want to do that in 2020. That's a huge, huge, huge thing that I'm working on for myself in the new year. And not scheduling too many things for yourself too. I think that's another problem that comes up, which gets me to my other question, what you loved about the way you're scheduled yourself, but also, is there anything that you feel like you did wrong or could improve on? Like for me, I tend to give myself so many tasks in one day that there's no way anyone could complete them. And even though I was productive, I wasn't taking naps and like watching Netflix or whatever, I still feel like I didn't get anything done. But it's really because I gave myself an impossible to-do list. So anything you loved, anything that you hated about the way you scheduled yourself, feel free to pop that in to the chat. Finally, also something interesting, I realized that I shouldn't be scheduling anything in pen. So last year I tried to schedule my entire year up front in pen in my notebook, in my planner. And I ended up getting a lot of pages that really looked like this. And that just kind of gives me anxiety to look at. So this year, I have a rough idea of the year, and I'll get into that in a bit, but I'm scheduling out my first 3 months, and I'm doing it in pencil, just in case I need to shift some things around, and I don't want it to look like chicken scratch. So moving on. Now you want to think about your goals, right? So I'm not sure if you've heard of the term SMART goals, but this is really a research-backed strategy for creating your goals. And what this means, it's an acronym. Your goal should be specific. You should be able to define the who, what, when, and where of your goal. It should be measurable. How will you know that you actually succeeded? It's the difference between saying you want to grow an email list versus you want to grow your email list by 1,000 people. It should be attainable. It should be something that you can actually do. It should be realistic for you to achieve within a certain time frame. And time frame is the T in SMART goals. So one example, let's just say for me, maybe I want to add 500 new members to my travel blog prosperity membership community. I might think about strategies to implement to get me there. I'll think about what has worked in the past. And I may also look at what others are doing to reach similar goals, but then adapt them to my own personality and my own brand. Maybe that means, running webinars. Maybe that means running some new Facebook ads, hosting other engaging live events like free challenges and live summits, finding other content creators and brands to onboard as affiliates and co-host webinars. And I just want to explain that one for a minute, because that's been super helpful for me in the last year. And before I told you, I would give you an example of how collaboration has really helped me grow my business. So one thing that's really helped me is to work with, and this goes both ways, become an affiliate for brands that I love, and I know that my audience would love, and work with them to create webinars and online workshops, invite my community to those, and put my affiliate in front of my community. And if a purchase is made, of course, then I would get a commission. But I also do it the other way. I will work with, say, other content creators. Maybe they're content creators who are in my course. Maybe they're content creators who created a module or a lesson for my course. I will give them an affiliate code, create a webinar, and they'll introduce me to their audience, and I'll host a webinar for them. That has been really, really effective. If that didn't make sense, just let me know in the chat if you are curious about learning more about that. But really feel free to to get creative and think about how you can, collaborate with others to get in front of each other's audiences. A lot of times when I work with a content creator to do one of these webinars, they'll put me in front of their audience for this webinar, but then we'll do it backward and I'll do it for them in front of my audience. So those have been some of my favorite partnerships last year, and I'm definitely going to continue to do that in the new year. I'm going to pop over to the chat because I see some. I don't usually finish one project or task before starting another, which makes it easy to get scatterbrained and overwhelmed. Yes, I've definitely been there. My biggest challenge is finishing posts I've got coming up with ideas and getting them started down. Also finding creativity for my blog after writing so much for my freelance clients. I used to run into the same situation when I used to freelance, by the way, Crystal, and it was really challenging. I started to get to a point where I would write for myself first and figure out what I wanted to create for me. And then I would maybe, like, say I did a mega guide to New York City. Then maybe for a freelance client, I would choose a restaurant that I really loved and I'd pitch a story about the restaurant so that I could still create the content for myself based on a destination or an experience, but also, freelance as well. And then in terms of the finishing the project before starting another, we'll definitely be touching on that because I've totally been there myself. And I want to tell you guys about how you can kind of combat that. Going back to the SMART goals, another example might be that, you want to grow your YouTube channel. So you might do something like this, like host a workshop or a series that would benefit your audience, going back to that mission, and host it on YouTube. Hopefully you know how to actually go live on YouTube and don't have the tech issues that I had before, because I thought it would be really simple, like going live on Facebook. So if the goal is to grow a certain channel, do take a moment to pinpoint why that matters. If you're trying to grow your YouTube channel, what is the end goal with that? It's probably not just to grow your following count on YouTube. Is it because you want to post videos that attract the audience that would join your course? Is it because you want to run ads on YouTube? Is it because you're a great videographer and you feel like it'll allow you to charge more when you work with brands? So think about what that actual goal is. How does growing a YouTube channel or Instagram or Twitter, whatever it is, equate to a more profitable business? So for YouTube, it is the second largest search engine on Google. So for me, because this is a goal for me next year, I'd be able to create more helpful videos, which is something that makes me feel creative. I absolutely love creating videos. And then something that I like to do is I'll often add an opt-in freebie to pair with my video that will get people on to my email list. So personally, I've learned that the best way to sell my products, mainly my courses, and to grow my affiliate income is to grow my email list and put these things that, again, things that would actually help my audience. It's not like I'm just like throwing products at people. Thinking back to the mission, I put the affiliates and the products in front of my audience that would help them. And I've just found that email is the best way to do that. So using YouTube to grow my email list, which then helps me grow my product income and my affiliate income. And if if you've ever found the thought of funnels kind of confusing, that's basically a funnel. You've got your YouTube video with, an item to pair. Let's say your niche is travel hacking and you have a course about travel hacking. You create a video that shows people how to book a really cheap flight, and you've got a travel hacking cheat sheet to pair with the video. Someone watching that video would be interested in that cheat sheet. To get the cheat sheet, they have to join your email list. They get on your email list, you give them the cheat sheet in the welcome email, and now you can nurture that person into, to the point where they feel really helped by you, they've gotten to know you, you're growing that relationship. And then when you put your travel hacking course in front of them, they'll be more warmed up, they'll be more likely to purchase because, you've grown that relationship. You're not just some random person at this point. So that's just like a basic sort of idea of a funnel. And if you're thinking, I hate making videos, I hate YouTube, this is not for me, well, just swap in what speaks to you. Maybe you do a 5-day challenge on Instagram or via email instead, if that's what speaks to you more. Maybe instead of going live to everyone on the internet, you create a small Facebook group that's just for your community where you might feel more comfortable going live and getting comfortable on camera. So again, I don't think it really helps anyone to spend all your time doing things that you hate. You're not going to look forward to getting up in the morning. You want to be able to schedule yourself in a way, do I love every single task that's in here? No, but most of them I do. And when I write my goals down in here and I think of the strategies that energize me to reach those goals, it makes, filling out the planner fun, and it makes getting up in the morning a lot more fun. So anyway, now I'll just pop back to the chat for a second. Oh yeah, people are chatting. Anyone else creating an author platform on social media or blogging? Nice, though, Chantal is. And I believe, Chantal said she was an author. Just published my website today and posted my very first post on my blog. Congratulations. And on your Facebook page. I've just opened my social accounts. A bit early to know how it's going, but so far it's been a lot of work. Yes, absolutely. I mean, what I'm doing is a little bit different, but whenever you're starting your own business, no matter what that is, you're usually wearing a lot of hats, right? And that is where it gets kind of tricky. But and we'll talk about this more as we go along, you don't have to do everything. And again, I'm going to dive deeper into this, but I really want to drive that home for you all. Like, you don't have to be doing everything. Choose what will actually bring you growth. So hold that thought. My cat's going to make noise in a sec. All right. So I want to talk a little bit more about leaving space for creativity, because I think this is something that I know I haven't allowed for myself for years. And just 2019 was really the year that I was like, I can't live like this. I can't wake up and immediately be typing onto my phone and just brain out of control, scattered all over the place. So rituals to enhance creativity has something that's been huge. And I kind of touched on this before. So I wake up early every single day, and I do certain things that speak to me, along with the paintings that I showed you guys. I have tons of these little journals, like do one thing every day that inspires you, creative journal. I have journals with writing prompts. I love to just write with pen and paper when I wake up. There is this company called Silk and Sonder that they do this monthly journal subscription. So I just like to start my morning just letting things flow, just letting things come out. And sometimes those are things that I never end up creating. Like, I might sit in silence for a bit and get a great idea, and I'm mapping it out and doing all this stuff. And then I sit on it for a day or two and I realize, like, this wasn't a good idea. But still, I still feel good getting it out there. I feel good giving myself the space to come up with these ideas, because sometimes they are really great ideas. Like I said, visualization is huge. Maybe you've heard of this, but so many successful people do this tactic, and forgetting what, I almost feel like it's Muhammad Ali, and I'm going to feel bad if I'm misattributing that, but some athlete said that they already knew what was going to happen before the fight or the game already took place, because they had visualized it so many times before, like they'd already been there before. So, it takes practice to get to a point where you can really visualize your success. The trick is not to just think about, I want, $1 million, and I'm going to close my eyes and picture myself having $1 million. Like, whatever your goal is, first of all, it should be believable and attainable, I think. But you want to think about it with all your senses. You shouldn't be watching yourself complete the goal. You want to actually visualize yourself to a point where you are living the goal. And this includes using your senses. So that could mean practicing. Like, when I was first getting into visualization, I would do small things. I would say, walk to the fridge, get an apple, take a bite, and then, go back and try to visualize that experience with the senses. And that's just a small moment. And then as you get better at it, you can add more and more. And then you can adapt the strategy to your goals. I also love to just sit with blank paper and a pen in front of me and just let my ideas kind of flow out. For me, I find that when I'm staring at a screen all the time, and I think a lot of people can relate to this, I feel zapped. I don't feel energized to meet my goals. It's hard to picture my goals. And it's hard to do these things in a fun way. So sometimes, even if it's, say, a blog post, I know a lot of you are authors, maybe it's coming up with, your book outline. Sometimes drafting that just with pen and paper with your hands, even though it's going to be extra work to type it up later, can just allow things to flow out a little bit better and a little bit more creatively, at least in my experience. And also giving yourself what I like to call a dream day. So those days when you just cannot focus on anything and you're trying to get things done, but it's just not happening. Well, instead of just forcing yourself to do things that you're clearly not wanting to do in that moment, give yourself a dream day. Maybe this is the good day to sit with that pen and paper and just let things flow out and just sort of let these ideas come to you to sit with and then decide if you want to map them out later. I also find a lot of value in figuring out when you are most productive. So for me, I'm most productive early in the morning. Once it hits 3 o'clock, I'm pretty tired. Whereas my fiance, he's the opposite. He loves working at night. He'll sleep late, which I just cannot do, because when I sleep late, I feel like I'm wasting those precious hours where I'm feeling most energized. So figure out what your time frame is and just allow yourself that space to work during that time frame if it's possible. And lastly, consider what platforms and what content types speak to you. It might even be something that no one else is doing. And instead of thinking, oh, no one is doing that, probably because no one likes it, give it a try. If it's something that speaks to you and you feel creative doing it, then you give yourself that space. I know, for example, this just popped into my mind, Hopscotch the Globe YouTube channel. She creates all types of videos, but one type of video that she created, I think she still does this, is acting out her trips. So she would come home and set up the scene and act out the trips. She's also an actress. And it's so creative. And I've never really seen other people doing it. So I think that's kind of fun when you can come up with something new and clever. I know Jen of The Travel Woman, I think her Instagram is also Jennifer's Camera. She does a lot of cinemagraphs. I think they're called cinemagraphs, which is something really new and fun that I haven't seen a lot of other people doing. So, get creative. You can also do types of content that other people are doing, but just figure out what you enjoy and what really speaks to you. And again, whatever you decide to do, don't skip giving yourself space to get creative, to look up from your laptop, and just, really feel good about what you're putting into the world. It may seem like a waste of time, but these rituals are so powerful. And again, I just say this based on my own experience of the impact that giving myself this space has had on my business. Now, I want to talk next about actually creating your plan, which I'm sure a lot of you, this is the part that you're most excited for. I want to just check the... Oh, I love it. I love it. Everyone's chatting. Da, da, da. I use a sandwich activity strategy. Do something you're not excited about, then something you enjoy, then another task that isn't something you want to do. It helps me stay motivated. I love that idea. I've never heard of, I do the sandwich thing with I don't do it. I don't criticize people that often, but I've heard of the sandwich technique for criticism. If you're good, if you're going to criticize someone, you give them a compliment first, then the criticism, then the compliment. But I love that idea of using it in this instance as well. There's also the frog theory. If you do have to eat a frog, which represents that big or unpleasant task, it's better to eat it first and get it done with. so true, because I know sometimes I don't do that. And I honestly, I have some things that I have to do that I've been putting off all week. And I sort of was like, okay, I'll do that later. I don't want to do it. I'll do that later. And then it just sits there for like ever. So that is such a great tip. Now, creating your plan. Let's talk about actually putting our ideas into our planners or Asana or Trello or whatever you use to plan. So I'm going to share my process. And as I'm talking, feel free to share your own tips, ask questions, all that good stuff. So I like to start by, I had so many things over here, writing out my big goals on a piece of paper. So this is just something that I have on my wall above my desk. Maybe it's a certain amount of money you want to make, a certain amount of people enrolling in your course, or a certain number of email subscribers that you want to get. So you write down those goals. For me, I wrote down one goal for 2020, grow my Travel Blog Prosperity membership to 500 members. So then from there, I think about how I can make this goal happen. And you want to think again about your mission statement, about how your business is set up, and then what can you do to make this happen? I also think about what's worked in the past. And like I said before, I will also look at what other people are doing that maybe I haven't tried yet that I think look fun or interesting. And not that I'm going to copy every single bit of what they did, but I might take the strategy and sort of adapt it to my own business. So a few things that I wrote down. Launches work really well for me for growing my student base and my member base. Videos, like I said before, I will create videos and then I will attach a opt-in freebie. And I share those on YouTube, on IGTV, on Facebook, on Twitter, in my email, on my blog. If I'm taking the time to create a video, I am sharing it everywhere. Writing blog posts, of course, is really helpful. And what I do is very similar to the videos. I rarely will do sort of like a straight to product page promotion in a blog post. Like I don't write a blog post and say, join Travel Blog Prosperity. Not that I would never do that, but what I find is more effective typically for me is to write a blog post that would be of interest to people that would join Travel Blog Prosperity, and then put an opt-in freebie in that blog post. And then, I get those people on my email list where I can nurture them. Partnerships, like I said before with the webinars, that is really, really, really helpful. So I'm going to do more of that next year. Also bringing on great guest teachers that can then, promote the membership to their audience. And of course, I'll give them an affiliate code and we can do a webinar that way as well. Getting more high quality affiliates is really something I want to focus on next year. Hosting webinars. This is one of the best strategy. Yes, with other people, but also just on my own. I love hosting webinars. Potentially doing a YouTube live series. This is, like I said, the first time I've ever done YouTube live, and that's why I was late, because I could not figure out how to go live. But once I get better at YouTube, maybe doing a live series. IG stories. Whenever I do an Instagram story where I'm talking in the clips, it does really, really well for me. And I've noticed that because I was a little lazy for a bit and I was like, I don't really, I don't have makeup on. I don't want to go live, or, I don't want to create a video of myself talking. But even if it is just a simple me talking into my phone, it will always have higher engagement than any pretty kind of slide I create in Canva. So doing more of that. Something that I haven't really done much of that I want to do in the new year to help with this goal is to host some giveaways. That would be, attracting that audience that I want to put my membership in front of, and having relevant prizes that would actually interest them. I'm growing my email list with that. And through my podcast that I launched last summer, I want to say. So that's been doing really well. Creating more episodes, but also maybe putting more effort into promoting the episodes with giveaways for people who leave reviews and things like that. So that's just, one of my big goals. So from there, I just want to say one thing. With these strategies, I have a bunch listed. These are mainly things that I've done in the past, aside for really the giveaways, but consider focusing on one thing at a time and going all in. So for instance, let's say that you run ads with Mediavine on your website and your goal is to grow your traffic to 100,000 sessions per month to make more ad income. Instead of trying to learn every single traffic generation strategy all at once and getting completely overwhelmed, choose one at a time, master it, and then once you've got a repeatable workflow down for that, then move on to the next and just continue to grow. I think, speaking to my students and people in my community, I see that a lot of people get burnt out because they try to do every single thing at once. And it's impossible. And, it's going to leave you feeling zapped. So don't be afraid, especially for anyone just starting out. Don't think you need to master Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, TikTok, which I have an account, but I haven't really used that. There's so many channels. Pick one that you want to really excel at, grab all your handles elsewhere, and spend the time mastering that one and then move on to the next. For example, I have a separate Instagram and Facebook for my tours, my New York City photo tours. And I wanted the Twitter account in case one day I decide I want to use Twitter as a strategy. And what I do is I just created a graphic that says, we don't really tweet, follow us on Instagram. So they know that the account is live, even though I'm not tweeting. And hopefully they'll see that and then follow me on Instagram over there. So that was kind of my strategy with that. And by doing this, by really just focusing on one thing at a time, it also allows you to get better at that strategy because you have more time to devote to it. But it also allows you to really analyze what's working and what's not. So for example, let's say you choose Pinterest as the strategy or the platform you want to use to grow your traffic. You want to master Pinterest. And you say, okay, I'm looking at my analytics. My pins have a lot of impressions, but not a lot of click-throughs. Well, this might mean that the pins are optimized, you're using great keywords, they're getting seen, but maybe you need to work on your graphic design skills a little bit because maybe they're just not attractive enough for people to click through. You might spend some time looking at other people creating pins on your topic and see what they're doing that works and maybe how you can adapt and apply that strategy to your design. If you're doing everything under the sun at once, you're not going to have time to even look at your analytics. So that is kind of what I think about that. So then I recommend thinking about the next year. So here's my paper. I have another sheet of paper where I have my year sort of mapped out. This is not set in stone, but I have my big goal for each month as I see it now, in December 2019, how I see the next year going. So I kind of know what I'm working towards. Really though, things can change at any time. For example, I have a new product launch scheduled for March, but maybe that might change. For example, if one of my best affiliates emails me and says, oh, we're hosting this huge live summit, can you promote it? I might move what I was planning to do and say, yeah, okay, I want to promote that summit. Maybe I'll even create a webinar to get my audience excited for that summit, or I'll create a freebie that I can offer my audience if they purchase through my affiliate. So it gives me space to get creative with things that might pop up. And the thing is, there will be opportunities that pop up that you just cannot foresee right now. So I only set in stone the next 3 months. Yes, if a great opportunity comes up, I can still move things around, but I like to be pretty clear on the next 3 months so that I can know exactly what needs to get done. And I can allow the months to sort of play off each other. So basically what I mean by that is I have, let's say for January, I have my goal and it is going to be a little flash sale that's happening. You'll get more details on that if you're on my email list. So I want to reach that goal of getting the product all ready to promote. So that's at the end of the month, but I have these 4 weeks to work with. So what are the tasks that I need to do in week 1 that will build on a task in week 2, that will build on a task in week 3, that will build on week 4 so that when those weeks are complete, my goal is as well. Maybe your goal is something that needs 6 weeks or 8 weeks. You would still do the same thing. Now, what I said about months playing off of each other. Let's just say there you have a goal, you want to get 10 students in your travel hacking course. And you know that email lists typically convert at 2%. So you might spend the first month working to get your list up to at least 500 people. Then in month number 2, you might start planning your launch, scheduling some emails focused on travel hacking to warm up your audience. And then in month number 3, you might have your launch and really focus on the promotion and getting it out there. So see how knowing in month 1 what you were going to do for 3 months allowed you to sort of connect all those months so that you are completing mini goals along the way to reach a larger goal that leads to profits in your business. So that's why I like to do the 3 months. I'm going to pause really quick. Let's just see in the chat if there's anything. Okay, cool. So then you want to add these things to your planner. Now, like I said, I like to break up my project into 4-week sprints, or if you need more weeks, that's totally fine. So here's another example. Let's say I want to grow my email list by 1,000 people by hosting a giveaway. Maybe week 1 is finding prize sponsors. Week 2 is creating the assets and finalizing the sponsors. Week 3 might be reaching out to other content creators to promote the giveaway and setting up your Facebook ads. And week number 4 could be the giveaway launch. And what you would do is you would add those tasks to your planner. Of course, you also want to add in any daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly and yearly tasks. There are just certain things you're always going to have to be doing, right? So, if you have a blog posting schedule, you keep, or a video creation schedule, you keep, just make sure to add that in. I actually have in my planner, and I'm not finished writing this out for the year, but I do have a section where I just have these kind of daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly tasks. And I like to write these out in the back so that after 3 months, when I go back in and I schedule the next 3 months in my planner, I don't miss anything. So daily, I'm sharing pins in tribes and Tailwind tribes, posting in Facebook groups, my own, as well as other Facebook groups where my audience is hanging out. Then I have weekly tasks like scheduling social media, scheduling social shares in my private Facebook group, as well as my student groups, publishing a video. I try to do one a week. Posting, I have a special opportunities newsletter that I send out. So those are some weekly tasks. If you have a monthly newsletter, that might go into your monthly tasks. I do a Facebook Live once per month with a traveler. So anyway, yeah, these are just the tasks that I want to know right away exactly what needs to be scheduled. And I make sure to schedule those also into my planner. And just a tip to make all of this easier, I am a huge fan of task batching. This just means grouping tasks together that are similar or the same so that you get into a flow state. So I mentioned this before, I believe, but one example is on Mondays. That's my social media day. I'm not like scheduling a Facebook post on Monday and then again on Tuesday and then again on Wednesday. I'm actually sitting down on Monday and planning out all of the social content for the week so that I get into that mindset. And it just makes it so much easier and so much faster to get these things done. There is, I forget the exact stat, but there is evidence that it takes a significant amount of time for your mind to switch between tasks. Let's say you switch from doing emails and then to creating pins and then to creating a video. Your mind is going to need time to do those switches. Whereas if you are spending all that time creating the social content, your mind is getting into that flow state and it doesn't need to make those switches. You might also use an entire month or week to batch create. Maybe you create 6 months worth of videos in 1 month, and then you don't have to think about it again. Um, for instance, all of the episodes that have aired so far for my podcast, I recorded over 1 week, and then I spent another week editing and getting the blog post ready. But it was basically, we'll just say 2 weeks to create the episodes in full. And then that's 6 months worth of podcast episodes that I don't need to think about again until those 6 months are up. And I find that super, super helpful because I personally, like, I hate that feeling of like, oh my goodness, like I didn't realize I don't have any episodes coming out for a while and I don't have any time to create them. Instead, it's just all done for you. If possible, leave either Friday as an overflow day or maybe the end of each day as an overflow day. I like just going into Friday like, okay, like what haven't I gotten done? I have this full day ahead of me. I just find that bloggers and entrepreneurs, we just have so much to do and we schedule ourselves with way too many things that are impossible to get done, so that it spills into the weekend, it spills into your evenings. And instead of eating dinner with, your partner or your friends or your family or whatever, you're sitting in front of your computer, and that's no way to live. I just want to pop over to the comments. Okay, perfect. And I'm curious if anyone here maybe has an overflow day. Is that something that you do? Or is it something you feel like you should be doing? I want to also mention Asana. So there are like a lot of different project management tools. There's Trello, there's Monday, there's so many. I use Asana. It's totally free. But yeah, I could never use Asana for an actual calendar or schedule. I just really need the paper planner. Like that's just how I work. I still use a gigantic paper calendar to know exactly what I'm doing that day. But I love Asana for having a place to save my workflows. So, something you do regularly, like create a blog post, say, you want to have a repeatable workflow so that every time you write a blog post, you're not like, okay, wait, what do I do again? Wait, what do I need to create? What do I need to do to share it? You just have that ready to go in Asana. So for me, I have certain tasks in Asana that are like every blog post, this is what I'm going to do. For example, the keyword research, adding clickable tweets, creating pins. Then, for example, I have another section in that project in Asana that is about the blog post promotion. Every time I publish a blog post, I am going to create 10 tweets sharing it. I'm going to create 2 different Facebook posts. I'm going to create an Instagram story. I'm going to share it with my newsletter. I'm going to email all the brands, bloggers, and businesses mentioned in the post to let them know they were mentioned. Things like that. Maybe you're in some sharing groups where people share each other's content. That might be something you add to your workflow. But having a place where you have these repeatable workflows will save you a lot of time. And again, I like doing it in Asana because I don't feel like rewriting an entire workflow every single time. Like I could just write blog post creation and then blog post promotion. And I know, okay, that workflow is in Asana. So for me, that just saves a lot of time and a lot of hand cramps. I also, with Asana, will put any one-off projects in there, such as, a giveaway, for example. Another really good example, actually, of using Asana for one-off projects is if you work with brands. The deliverables might be different each time. So every single time I work with a brand or a tourism board on a campaign, I will create a project in Asana, and then I will list out the exact deliverables with the deadlines so that I know exactly what I need to do. That'll just be right in there. Okay. Popping back over. No, but I'm going to try it. I use Trello and really like it. Yep, I love Trello. I have a lot of partners that use Trello, so I do end up using that one as well. Can we watch this session later? Yes, I'm going to be reposting it. I'm going to actually see if I can repost it without the awkward beginning where I was trying to figure out how to use YouTube Live. But yes, it will be reposted. Just playing with this. Okay, cool. So just change the. Now I want to talk about some productivity hacks. I've shared a few with you. The task batching is huge. Morning rituals. If you don't have a morning routine yet, like I just highly recommend it. It's just changed my mindset for the better in so many ways. And I think there is a beauty in just starting the day doing something that you enjoy and just kind of letting that be what drives you forward. Even if it's as simple as spending 20 minutes eating breakfast with a cup of coffee without distractions, whatever that is for you, going for a walk. Yeah, I think there is power in starting the day on the positive, happy foot versus like the emails foot. And we talked about goal planning. I also wanted to touch on the Pomodoro technique, and I'd love to know in the chat if anyone has used this. I am obsessed. Actually, one of my members in Travel Blog Prosperity, I shared it in a workshop, and she told me it has shaved hours off her work week, not off her month or her year. She shaves hours off her week. So here is just a quick, you know, explanation of how it works. You basically want to break up your workday into productive chunks. So let's say chunks of 25 minutes separated by 5-minute breaks. And you could kind of tweak this how it fits for you. Maybe you would rather have an hour chunk of time with like a 20-minute break, whatever that works for you. I find it really helpful to keep a blank sheet of paper near me while I do this because, and this is something someone brought up before about getting distracted, it's so easy while you're, say, writing a blog post to then just randomly think of another great idea, or something you didn't do. Oh, that email I didn't answer. And then to go try to do that other thing. And then when you come back to the blog post, you've like gotten out of that flow. So the piece of paper is there so that you can just write that down. You're not going to forget it. It's not going anywhere, and you can come back to it later. It just helps you not get distracted by that like stuff that pops up. And what this does is it helps you just be really productive for the set amount of time. You know that that break is coming. So you're less tempted to like watch that cat video on YouTube or like go, I don't know, do dishes. Like you'd rather maybe do dishes than do work because you're just like sort of, distracted. There is, by the way, a very amazing YouTube channel called Study Music Project that actually creates music with Pomodoro technique breaks woven in. So the music that I think it's a man creates is actually meant to help you study. It's like, that focused kind of music. And all of a sudden it'll go silent and you look at the screen and it's like, time to take a 5-minute break. So I love that, just in case. The name Pomodoro technique comes from the Pomodoro timers. So a lot of people traditionally will use a Pomodoro timer for this. I'm sure there's probably an app too that has a timer. You could use a phone timer, whatever works for you. But this YouTube channel is really incredible for that. So yeah, I want to also make a note of be kind to yourself. Some days you're going to wake up exhausted and unclear, and nothing will help. No meditation, no journaling, no, self-care is going to help. You're just not in that mindset. And that's okay. Like, don't beat yourself up. Everyone has those days. Sometimes personally, I just need to step away from my computer and take a break, or even work with pen and paper just to get away from the screen. Or maybe that day I'm just not feeling work. So I give myself the easy tasks. Like maybe I see, okay, tomorrow, you know what, I was supposed to schedule social media versus writing a blog post, which is more mentally intensive for me. So maybe I'll swap those because today just isn't the day where I'm feeling amped up. Maybe like sometimes I'll literally throw on music for a half hour and just like dance around my apartment because that's just what I need to feel energized and just get out the like tired blah feeling. So yeah, don't beat yourself up over being a human being and just give yourself that space to do that. Now, we're nearing towards the end, so I want to just take any questions, any thoughts, any tips, like anything you want to share. Feel free to start typing that into the chat. But I wanted to also share just a quick final note on our innate fear of failure as humans, because it's something I think we all feel, but actually failing can really help your creativity and your success. And this is even with the life coaching stuff. It's something that comes up a lot, that people resist making change and going for their goals, often because they're afraid of failing. But the truth is, you talk to any truly successful person and they talk about how many times they failed. They basically failed their way to success. So, I mean, what is failure really? It's not a failure unless you give up. It's really just a lesson if you think about it. If whatever that goal is, if you didn't hit it, if you're trying to get your email list up to 1,000 subscribers by March 1st and you don't hit that goal, you didn't fail. You just got an opportunity to sit down and kind of think about why that didn't happen and what you could do different moving forward. And as long as you don't give up, you didn't fail. You learn from what happened, you adapt, you grow. And if you're able to use that experience to motivate yourself to do better, you can really accomplish amazing things. So don't forget that. Please don't forget that. Because I know, you know, it's so easy to get frustrated when you are going out on your own ventures, especially. And I don't know, maybe some of you aren't starting your own business. I'm just saying that because I know a lot of people in my community are entrepreneurs starting their own gigs, but this could go for your, move up your own career path, whatever that is for you. So, push past that fear, take risks, try new things. I've never done a YouTube live before, and not to keep bringing up that I just spent 20 minutes, like probably live, like scratching my head, talking to myself. Like it's okay. It's okay because now I know how to do it, I think, for next time. But for 2020, like I said, I want to start focusing on YouTube because all my other social channels I feel like are pretty strong, and YouTube is one I've kind of always neglected. I didn't put in the time and effort for it. So yeah, it's something that I want to focus on. And it is scary to hit that go live button and sit here and know that anyone on the internet can kind of tune in right now and see me talking. But it's also a chance to grow and to learn something new and to reach new people. And once you do something once, twice, 3 times, it just gets easier, and you can create a consistent routine and tweak it and adapt. I remember the first time I did a live webinar, and now I host them all the time on Webinar Jam. I was terrified, like sweating, shaking, and I thought, oh, the audio won't work. The thing might go out. People are going to think I'm weird. They're not going to like the presentation. Maybe, like, I have no idea. And it went great. And now, I've gotten better and better at like hosting these webinars that I do. And yeah, it's like always a learning process. So I'd love to kind of pop over. Simply use Outlook. For email, you use Outlook. By the way, I want to share, we're talking about freebies. I'm going to share a page with everyone, and this has a number of just free resources for bloggers, but also entrepreneurs, honestly. And I'll also be sharing something pretty awesome at the end of the month for helping you really get planned out for the year in the best possible way. So, once you're on my email list, you'll get information about that, and it'll be just really, really helpful. It's something I did last year called Breakthrough Month, and you'll get more information on that if you're on my list. But there's a resource library in there, a free email course, a free video course, all kinds of stuff in that on that Get Started page. You use Outlook for scheduling tasks. Oh, instead of Asana or Trello. Got it. Outlook, I think, is for email as well, too. There's so many of these great project management tools. I also, just in case anyone is interested, there's like an emergency alert on my phone. I want to share a video that I created on my mindful morning routine. And it shares exactly what I do every morning to get really sort of amped up and energized. And it's a video on YouTube. So let me just grab that for anyone interested. And here we go. So I'm popping that into the chat box. So So for anyone who's interested in that, yeah, it shares that. So, and by the way, I don't know offhand what brand planner this is, um, but it was super cheap. I can look it up if you email me if you're interested in like a really nice budget friendly planner. Last year, I spent $60 on my 2019 planner. This was like, I honestly think I paid 15 or something. And it literally is, I like it better. I like it better than the other one. It has the tabs for the months, lots of pages to take notes, folders. It also has little spaces to add, like for each day, something that maybe you can, I think this is what it is. There's like a spot with a glass in it. I think that's like a way to relax, maybe, that you can put in your planner. But anyway, this was like really cheap and I love it. Cool, cool. Thanks, Jesse. I've just followed your free course through Readsy. Oh, I love Readsy. They taught a workshop for me through Travel Blog Prosperity. That's how I got connected with them. So basically, they created an incredible workshop for me on how to self-publish an ebook. And in turn, in exchange, I created the email course for them. So they were great to partner with. I love their website. And thank you for all the great resources you put into your blog. Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for, spending this last hour for me. I appreciate everyone's patience with my not amazing YouTube tech savviness. So anyway, I'm going to just also end by popping my email into the chat, Jessie@jessieonajourney.com. Pretty easy. Spell that. Okay, cool. So if anyone, has any questions about anything, feel free to just email me and I will get back to you. If I don't talk to you before then, have a great, holiday season, have a great new year. And yeah, I hope everyone can, set their goals and meet them in the new year. I know you can do it. You just have to take that time to map it out and believe in yourself. So